So today I would like to talk about a film that came out in mid 2021 that I did not know came out. It dropped on Netflix. I watched it. I was super excited because it is a film that is based on a comic book that I really like. It is a Russian comic book that has been translated to English. I'm not sure about any other language, called Major Grom Plague Doctor. That is what the film is named as well, by Bubble Comics. I have not read all of it, but I've read a little, so I'm kind of familiar with it. So going into the film, I already kind of knew what was going to happen. And I think, listen, I love Marvel. I like some DC. I definitely am still watching so many of those DC television shows on the CW. But I think this honestly might be one of my favorite, if not my favorite, comic book adapted films. It's not the best, but I just really loved it. I noticed a lot of people were comparing it to V from a lot of people were comparing it to V for Vendetta or the Joker or Batman. I kind of look at it as, this is not what Moon Knight is, but this is what I want Moon Knight to be. I won't spoil anything, but I am going to talk a little bit about the plot, so there might be kind of some spoilers in there. So to just end the review part of it, 10 out of 10 would recommend it. So the film opens with the titular character, Igor Grom. He is a police officer. And I will say, at the beginning, I was a little confused because it seemed like there was time travel shenanigans. So I'm not going to spoil anything other than to say it's not time travel. It's just showing that he's very strategic and kind of thinking ahead. If I do this, this is what the outcome will be, which kind of reminded me of the RDJ Sherlock movies a little bit. And so he is a police officer, as I said, and he has he's like that loose on the ragged edge kind of police officer who's just he's having a time. He reminds me of Riggs from Lethal Weapon. And he has kind of a weird relationship with the captain, I guess. I'm a big fan of 80s and early 90s cop movies, so I love a good police captain in a movie, and this one definitely high up there. He's real fun. And I like his relationship with Igor Grom. It produces a lot of comedy. The beginning of the movie is kind of quirky and silly, but very action-packed. I will say the actor, I don't know his name, who's playing Igor Grom, a lot of movies you watch and you think, well, that's not real, and I don't believe this person can do that. I really believe this dude could do those stunts. I actively think he's capable. And he has a great mustache, which is important. He ends up he goes on a call. I'm skipping a lot of things because, again, I don't want to give too much away. And he goes on a call and finds a crime being committed. He finds someone is being killed by a man dressed as a plague doctor, like those old school kind of plague doctors with the masks and stuff, who has flamethrowers, and it's intense. It's very intense. I will say something interesting about this film. It's about 2 hours. And if you walk in the beginning, which is, like I said, quirky, fun, action movie, and the end kind of is a little bit more reminiscent of something serious. Like I said, people were kind of comparing it to V for Vendetta or the Joker. It does get a little political, although its politics are, obviously, this is a Russian film based on a Russian comic, although it's something we could easily relate to in so many other countries. The tonal shift is apparent if you walk in the beginning and then walk at the beginning of the third act. But while you're watching it, it is very gradual and very natural. And I really, really like that. This isn't like an MCU movie where something really serious happens and then there's a dumb joke. This takes serious things seriously and funny things humorously, which I appreciate because that's just more realistic, and I just think better writing and filmmaking in general. So Major Grom ends up working with this journalist woman, a police officer who's fresh out of the academy, Dublin, who I kept calling Dublin mistakenly, which the movie does too, and I think that might have made me more confused. And this I'm not exactly sure what he is per se. He's like some sort of internet social media guy. He's a billionaire philanthropist. I think this is where the Batman comparisons come in, I guess. Sergey and his bodyguard Oleg. I would say the only issue with the movie I have is that I hope I'm saying his name right. Oleg is not in the movie enough. He, especially considering the end, he needed to have been in it more. And that's the only complaint, is I'm not nitpicking anything. It's a great effing movie, and I think it can be kind of summed up in it has an open credit scene that is like a visualization, and a visualization that is a metaphor for what the film is talking about, which is stunning. It is this beautiful scene of Lady Justice, so the blindfolded woman who's holding the scales, and she's crying, and one of her teardrops drops into one of the scales, causing this like black ooze to fall into, I think it's St. Petersburg. I'm not sure. Geography is my worst subject, but it what looks kind of reminiscent of, oh my God, it's like one of those, how like every major city has like a building that's very recognizable. Like DC has a bunch, London has a bunch, Paris has a bunch. So many capitals have these like buildings that are very old, architecturally stunning, very recognizable. It's one of those buildings. Again, I'm so bad at that kind of stuff. I really don't know the name of it, and I think it's St. Petersburg. I don't know in modern times what that building is, but the black goo falls around that, and it starts like this like, I don't know, these like jagged land masses start like protruding through, and these, it kind of looks like rent controlled buildings start to grow out of it. So it's kind of showing like the old being displaced by the new, and it shows the kind of corruption. I'm assuming the black goo is supposed to represent the corruption, and we know this kind of stuff happens a lot where their crime comes out of necessity. Let's understand that. Merton strain theory and anomie are real. Crime comes out of necessity. Poor people aren't committing crimes because they're poor. Yeah, but reverse. Crime happens as an extent because of that, because infrastructure is not built to help. It's built for the wealthy to maintain their wealth, and everybody else is just effed. And that is true in the United States. That's true all over the UK. That's true all over places in Latin America and Russia and Asia. That's true and pervasive all throughout the world, because humans are greedy. So all this black goo is like corrupting everything. And we see this white crow that's like glowing, flying through, and we're following it. If people aren't familiar, there's a phrase in most English-speaking countries. I think this is something people would recognize, black sheep, which is meaning like you're kind of an outcast. In Russia, same thing, except it's called a white crow. And that's something that is referenced in the comic book. So we follow this white crow that's flying through the city as it's being corrupted by crime and injustice. And it goes into this bank vault and down, and we see like all this gold into this beautiful ornate statue, kind of showing that the wealthy are causing the corruption. They are insulated from justice by their wealth, and they are living in this situation where they are in this opulence while everything else is being corrupt and run to shit. And then from all that, it kind of molds and consumes and creates the Plague Doctor, who is a vigilante who kind of goes a little amok in his vigilantism, and that's who Major Grom is trying to stop by using the system, as again he is a police officer. So it's just a really interesting story. I really love it. They do have hints about things that happen in later issues of the comic that I really, really hope they end up making a sequel, because there's this really awesome chess game that happens and this really cool thing with a bird, both of which are hinted at in the movie, and I hope they do it. It's a great, great friggin' movie. Don't be dissuaded by subtitles. Come on now. And, it's a fun comic if you can get access to it on Bubble Comics. Again, it's been translated into English at least, if not other languages, I'm not sure. So yeah, Major Grom, Plague Doctor, 10 out of 10, would recommend. Thank you so much for watching. But more importantly, seriously, go to Netflix and watch that movie. I really want a sequel. Okay, bye.